Hello everyone, today I am once again talking about the New South Wales Upper House elections, the Legislative Council elections. I did a video about this 2 months ago, predicting, and I am here again. The election is on in a week's time actually, on March the 23rd. As you can see here, these are the seats that were already elected last election and are not up for the election. So 21 seats were chosen, and this year another 21 seats will also be chosen. The state uses proportional representation. It's one big constituency, which means that to get a seat, you get one every 4.5% of the vote, or 4.545454. So the other day, the order of the ballots were drawn, and that is the order left to right for where the parties will be placed on the ballot paper. And because of psychology, it always ends up that the further to the left you are, the more chance that you will get elected. And the first place on the ballot was none other than the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party. But before we get into the tin tax, let's just go over what basically is confirmed to happen for this election. So Labor will get 7 seats. I doubt there's going to be any swing against them. There might not be a very strong swing to them, but I don't think they're going to get less than they did in 2015. We also have the coalition getting a 7. Now, last video, I think I made a bit of an error. So I suggested that the coalition will have a 10% swing against them. I think that they'll have a decent amount of a swing against them, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as I predicted in that video. So in that video, I said they got like 31, 32% or something like that. I think they'll get about 34% in the upper house. So all the polls are basically showing that their primary vote is about 39, 40. And often in the upper house, it's about 3 points lower than it is in the lower house than it is in polls. The difference is this time they've got a lot of competition. They got a lot of these small right-wing parties fighting against them. Actually, Reason isn't even in this election. I just have this left over from January, but there's no one else worth mentioning anyway, so they might as well stay there. But yeah, I don't think they're going to do that badly, especially when the people who vote for these right-wing minded parties are probably going to preference the coalition as maybe their last preference or something. So I think that they'll get 8. I think that they'll reach about 34, something like that, and they'll get 8 seats because the threshold for 8 is 36. I think they'll be close enough for that. So last video I said that Labor would get 8 seats. I think this is likely, but not really. It's not my prediction anymore. I think they'll get about 33%. I think it's highly likely that once again preferences will get them over the line of 8 seats. But I don't think it's a definite. So we got One Nation. They'll almost definitely get 1 seat. They're polling about 7%, 6%, something like that. The threshold is 4.5%. They'll get at least 1. Shooters, Fishers, Farmers. They got a good place in the ticket. They're number 1. And they got a decent amount of votes last time. So I think they'll probably get about 5% this time, and that will be enough for 1. Christian Democrats Party, I think they're going to have a bit of a swing against them this election. I think they're probably going to be like 1 or 1.5%. So I don't think they're going to go very far. The Conservative Party probably get out 1%. Animal Justice, we'll do the Greens. Okay, so the Greens will get 2. They're polling around 10%, 9%, something like that. Always enough to get 2. I'm not sure about how much more. So this leaves 2 gaps here, and this is basically the seats I think are up for contention this election. I think it's very likely that Labor could get a seat there, and then therefore it will push the Greens over. I think it's also very likely, and I made the prediction last time actually, that I thought that the Liberal Democrats are a shoe-in to get a seat. I'm not quite sure about that now, to be honest, because they did get right to the coalition. I don't know. I think they are definitely in contention. I think they'll get about 2 or 3%, and that should be enough. I mean, you don't actually need the quota a lot of the time to get seats in this election because of the fact there's a lot of exhausted votes, which means votes that don't go anywhere. So it actually reduces the amount of votes you actually have to get. So I think the real threshold will probably be something like 4%, 4.2%, something like that. And I still think the Liberal Democrats are quite likely to get a seat. Now, another person I actually haven't discussed yet, and I didn't discuss last video, but is quite interesting as a candidate, is Jeremy Buckingham, who is an ex-Green, who I don't know if he got kicked out or he resigned from the party, but he's all into like regional kind of matters and stuff like that. He drew Group L, which is not great for him. It's got really no association with him, and he's, I mean, you know, like the Science Party at least drew Group S, so that might, you know, that might be beneficial to them. But he got Group L, and I don't know how many people are actually going to know who he is and, you know, see that he's there, and or like he doesn't have his own party or anything. So I think optimistically, I think he'll get about 2%. And that may be good enough for him to get a seat. I'm really not sure, but I mean, I think this is the most likely scenario that we're going to get. I awarded One Nation 2 seats last time. I thought they were assuming to get 2. Their polling hasn't improved. I thought it was going to improve. I thought because of Mark Latham's you know, status at the moment that it would go up to about 10-11%, but at the moment it's sitting pretty low, 4 or 5%. But I think One Nation are also, apart from these that I've just predicted here, I think One Nation is probably the most likely to get an extra seat. You know, they could take the seat that goes to Liberal Democrats. They could take the seat that would go to Jeremy Buckingham. But these right-wing minor parties spiked this election, and I think that will not really help Labour and the Greens, because if they're looking to take any more seats than they usually got, I mean, I'm basically predicting here the Labour and the Greens got exactly the same as last time. And because of the fact that, like, I'm not even predicting that Animal Justice got elected, I mean, Jeremy Buckingham is kind of like similar, like where they're both kind of like minor left-wing party. But if Jeremy Buckingham does not get elected and Labour Party gets 7 and Greens get 2, that is pretty awful for the left, to be honest. So if we had like a scenario like this, basically, that would be kind of shit for the that would kind of be shit for the left. But yeah, I mean, Animal Justice could get that last seat. I don't even know how they got it last time. It got like 1.5%. You know, so I guess things just went their way. You know, but I think that if I'm to be optimistic about, because I am going to vote for Jeremy Buckingham, I would say that this is a very likely result. So, I said last time that it's going to be like a record crossbench. I think this is also the same. 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. I think that's probably some kind of record, like 11 crossbench. What do the coalition have to work with? Well, they had 20 seats last time. Now they only have 17. Labour had 12 last time. Now they have 14. And the Greens had 5, and they've decreased to 1. Yeah, so basically they would need the whole of the right-wing crossbench basically to pass legislation, which not the easiest thing to do. So for the left, for the Labour Party, what do they got? They got 14, they got 8, that's 18, 19 for Animal Justice, and 20 for Jeremy Buckingham. So that require 2 of these other right-wing minor parties, either, you know, the CDP and the One Nation, or CDP and Lib Dems, or Lib Dems and One Nation, or the Shooters, Fishers, Farmers Party. So really, it's pretty balanced. I don't think one side or another is stronger. Like, I mean, Shooters, Fishers, and Farmers, typically you feel like they probably align with the coalition. I think they probably have a lot of policies which lean to the Labour Party as well. So it's not really like a sure thing either way. But yeah, definitely going to be an interesting upper house. Well, this will be the first election in a long time where the CDP has not won a seat. But there's just too many right-wing minor parties, and that's hurting them, unfortunately. So I don't think the coalition could do any better than this, to be honest. I mean, in terms of, I don't think they're going to get more than 8 seats. Labour could get 8. They could take that seat off Jeremy Buckingham that I just listed there. Definitely a possibility. But yeah, the Shooters, Fishers, Farmers, some people were suggesting that they were going to get 2 seats. I think that's kind of unlikely. They would have to get around 9%, maybe a little bit less, maybe 8%. They are first on the ballot, and they have got quite a lot of popularity, but maybe 6% would be the most that I would suspect, and even that's only like an excess like of 1.5%, which is probably going to be similar to like what the Animal Justice Party would get. So I think they're going to do pretty well, but I think they've absolutely shored up 1 seat, but getting 2 seats is a different story, and I think One Nation is probably better to be in that position, but even still, not as much as I really thought Mark Latham would be. So anyway, so yeah, tell me in the comments what your opinion is about this. I'll just mention one person in the comments was talking about the National Party. The reason I have the Liberal and National as one thing is because in the upper house they pretty much are one thing. They share a ticket. I can't be bothered looking at that and seeing like, oh, which one is national and which one is liberal, because let's be honest, they don't exactly define themselves very well anyway. I might make a video on the lower house sometime. It would probably require quite a lot more work. This is actually pretty easy because it's all just pretty simple math. Just basically me guessing primary votes and then looking at the kind of the mathematics of it. But yeah, lower house is a different kettle of fish. There's like a lot of research that needs to be done there. I could probably make a video about you know, what betting odds have said about every seat, or like places that a minor party could win or something like that. I have a Victorian upper house video coming out soon, which I will make another video about the federal election very soon as well. I might make another video about the upper house for New South Wales, maybe the day before the election, but I don't think things are going to change that much, and it's going to be quite hard to predict because we do have a lot of little minor parties getting attention, and you're never really sure how preferences will go, or you know, how many people in the day will know that fucking Group L is Jeremy Buckingham. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Tell me your comments and criticisms, and I'll see you next time.